Kanye West has been sued by Gap for $2 million after his failed Yeezy collaboration. There's so many lawsuits going down against Kanye at the moment, it's kind of hard to keep track. First of all, let's discuss Gap suing Kanye. So pretty much they claim that Kanye made unapproved changes to a Los Angeles rental property that the landlord is trying to collect on. Apparently there's a company that owns a building that was leased to Gap and it sued Gap last year over damages to the property. The altercations included multiple changes to the building, an exterior ramp in the east side parking lot, installing a tunnel in the lot, removing ceiling lights, building a wall, and nixing 3 bathrooms. Now, Gap has tried to pass this lawsuit on to West. The suit against West claims by making and not repairing or restoring the foregoing altercations on the premises that West made without Gap's participation or approval, West breached the strategic agreement and directly and proximately caused Gap to incur expenses to repair and restore the premises. Gap is now asking West to be held responsible for any damages owed to this building, as well as $2 million in compensatory damages for itself. Gap was another company that ended its partnership with Kanye after he'd made a string of anti-Semitic comments last year. West, as we all know, then lost his billionaire status after Adidas decided to cut ties with him. Now, speaking of Adidas, apparently they've quietly won a court order freezing $75 million held by Kanye's Yeezy brand. They'd secretly filed legal action last year in federal court that successfully froze $75 million in bank accounts held by Ye after their massive split. So they'd filed this case to ensure such funds were not transferred out of Yeezy's bank accounts while the two companies had parted ways. So apparently what happened was the judge recently issued the freeze without giving Yeezy a chance to make counter arguments. This was so that Yeezy wouldn't take out that money and hide it and claim that he doesn't have it anymore. Judge Valerie E. Caproni wrote, "Petitioner has demonstrated that it has satisfied the grounds for an ex parte attachment because the court is satisfied that there is a risk that Yeezy will remove or dissipate assets if notice of this request for attachment is given to Yeezy." So there was a lot of shit that went down between Adidas and Kanye. The company was left sitting on $1.3 billion worth of unsold Yeezys, and apparently they were going to burn them instead of, maybe giving them to the homeless that actually need shoes. But then they decided that that was a bad idea and that they were going to sell them and then split the assets with Ye. In an April filing, Yeezy's lawyers urged Judge Caproni to undo the freeze, arguing that Adidas had failed to show that it was ever entitled to such an order in the first place. Adidas also warned that if the $75 million was released, West's conduct had severely harmed his own abilities to earn it back in other ways. So this is very interesting. There's a lot of lawsuits against Kanye at the moment. A lot of former business partners are coming for him. But he's not letting this affect his mental state at the moment. Like I've said time and time again, he's in his quiet girl era and he's working on a new business, apparently, allegedly, with his new wife, Bianca. Now, this business is not a business that Kim Kardashian is happy about, apparently, because according to sources, it's going to cause massive competition for Skims. Kanye has been seen out and about with his wife numerous times wearing what fans are now calling yeggings, Yeezy leggings. Many believe that he's going to be launching a unisex line of Skims-like wear, and apparently this is going to take off. At this point in time, Kanye has already lost his billions. He's got nothing really to lose at this point by starting another business. He's still working on Yeezy, and in fact he'd opened a Yeezy headquarters right next to an Adidas headquarters in LA. He's got no shame. Literally nothing is holding him back at this point, and we can see that he's really happy with his new wife, and she's probably contributing very positively to his mental state, even though she was recently caught allegedly flirting with a fan, but we all know she wasn't really flirting. That's just what the media tried to make out. So yeah, Kanye is really happy at the moment. He doesn't really give two craps about all these lawsuits that are against him at the moment, nor do I really think he cares about the lawsuit that Gap has filed against him. I think for the most part, he's just keeping quiet, focusing on himself and his new alleged yeggings business. Now, going back to the lawsuit that Gap has filed against Kanye, it turns out that West had actually signed a 10-year contract with Gap back in 2020, but he obviously pulled the plug on their partnership late last year, alleging that the brand breached their agreement by not releasing apparel as planned. And here we can see this is a leaked letter issued by Ye's lawyers to the company that was actually shared by West to his Instagram on September the 15th last year, exposing why he would no longer be doing business with them. It stated, "Notice of termination. It is apparent from your response that Gap has abandoned its contractual obligations under the strategic agreement dated June the 25th, 2020, as amended the agreement, and disclaimed any intention to attempt to cure the material breaches identified in the notice, which in any event are incurable. Notably, Gap does not dispute that it has failed for over 2 years to sell a single product in a single Gap store, including any of its 500 plus stores in North America, nor does Gap dispute that it has failed for over 2 years to open a single dedicated store anywhere in the world. Rather than dispute the facts set forth in the notice, Gap attempts to avoid its clear contractual obligations through a tortured reading of the agreement that would render Gap's contractual obligations illusory and would completely negate the detailed schedule agreed upon by the parties in the fully executed April 2021 project plan, which per the agreement constitutes an integral and enforceable part of the parties' bargain. Yeezy rejects Gap's position categorically and will take all necessary action to enforce its rights." So overall, Ye has pissed off a lot of brands. He was downward spiraling last year. And lastly, I wanted to add, not only did Adidas sue Kanye, but Adidas shareholders launched a class action lawsuit over Kanye West brand Yeezy because investors claim that the sportswear giant failed to minimize their exposure to risk after Kanye's anti-Semitic comments led to a sharp decline in the share price. So Adidas shareholders sued Adidas, claiming that they knew about Kanye's problematic behavior years before it ended their partnership over his anti-Semitic comments. Basically, the shareholders had alleged that Adidas failed to mitigate their financial losses or even just take precautionary measures to minimize their exposure after Kanye's crazy out-the-gate behavior and offensive comments, which ultimately caused him to be dropped by the Adidas brand pretty much straight away. Apparently, this class action lawsuit covers anyone who bought Adidas stock between the 3rd of May 2018, the day West made the remark about slavery, until 2023. Ye has obviously not responded to Adidas getting sued by shareholders, nor has he really said anything this year. But as we all know, this year he is on an upward spiral in his quiet girl era, focusing on life with his wife, being a deadbeat dad apparently according to Kim Kardashian, and focusing on launching his new business. Will he ever be a billionaire again? I guess only time will tell. Let me know your thoughts on all this drama in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more juicy tea.